So what's your name?
My name is Micah Turner.
And where are you from?
Originally, I'm from Reno, Nevada.
When did you join the armed forces?
When I was 19 years old, I used to be a firefighter, and I just fell in love with fraternity, and I wanted to serve my brothers.
So who did you sign up with?
I signed up with the Army as a multimedia illustrator. In the units that I usually work with, that just means that you make propaganda for the U.S. Army. It's psychological operations, more commonly and currently known as military information support operations. A name so generic, you couldn't possibly know what you were funding.
And so what kind of things were you drawing?
I made quite literally like posters about trusting, the government and stuff. Like it for Afghans, like with psychological operations in the Army.
So when you drew a flyer, did you know what it said?
Yes, but we had interpreters. They were our ideas, of course, It's just that they didn't really have the tools to do what we could do, so we just did it and basically worked with them to try and get people going in one direction.
What did you see when you were there in Afghanistan?
I've had 3 tours in Afghanistan and 1 in Iraq. And I was in Afghanistan when bin Laden was killed. You kind of looked at each other like, war's over, right? Like, we're going home, do inventories, pack up the whole deal. But it never happened. And a lot of good men died that year. I feel like we were betrayed by our government. Like, even if we weren't justified in the beginning, everyone that we blame for 9/11 is either dead or in jail. This war isn't justified. There's no reason that our brothers and sisters should die in the sand. There's no reason that their children should have to go to bed at night terrified of the next drone strike or the next kick-down door. It's an awful thing that we're doing, and we could be using that money on so much better things, like education or the environment. But so many people are getting rich, I think they just don't care.
And can you tell me a little bit more about your interactions with people who lived both in Afghanistan and in Iraq?
That's an interesting question, and I think it would take more time for me to give you an honest assessment of that without, really thinking about it and reviewing it. So I don't think I can answer that at this interview, but maybe once you give me some time to think about it, I can answer that in detail.
Sure. And did you find that your opinion about the war and about the United States' interventions in the Middle East were shared by a lot of your brothers and sisters in arms?
I think a lot of them, especially now, do feel just like I do. That it's our duty to dissent, that something is wrong with the system, and that it needs to be spoken about. Right? A lot of my friends will have nightmares that will never leave them. And there's no reason for it. It's just wrong.
So can you tell me what you're up against right now when you're speaking out?
Well, I am an active duty sergeant in my unit that I already described. And so for speaking out against the U.S. government and the Army, and deserting the Army, I'm probably looking at maybe like a year and 2 months for a felony charge, I don't really actually know. It could be as much as they want, Like the Army kind of has the call at this point to be like, do we just kill him? Do we put him in jail forever? Do we just like slap him on the wrist and then see if he becomes a good boy? Like, sorry, it's just how I feel.
And would you be tried in a military tribunal or a civil court?
Military.
So
I will be turning myself into the MP soon, peacefully, but not quietly.
And was there any instance in particular that really catalyzed you against the war, or was it kind of...
It was the moment when bin Laden was killed. I mean, it was just this blindingly obvious fiction they had written for us. The reason that we were there, that is. They really have no interest in humanitarian aid. That's not their goal set. If it was, they would be in different places. Afghans don't want us there. The Middle East doesn't want us there. We're occupying their country, just like the people of the United States are occupying their government. And they can't win.
Do you think that by speaking out you might catalyze other people, especially other people who are part of the armed forces, to maybe speak out regarding their opinions about the war?
That's why I'm risking a lifetime in jail.
And can you tell me a little bit more about interactions between kind of higher-ups and other people in the military? Is there a culture of silence?
There's a culture of dominance. You know, I have to say, for a totalitarian organization like the military, they are really good about kind of letting you be your own person to the limits that will, and just, it's not as horrible as it definitely has been in other countries and other time periods. You know, there's still a lot of free thinking going on, and I know that a lot of people feel the same way I do, and a lot of people are just scared not having Sam's hand wiping their ass every day.
And now I've seen recently, in the past week, it's come out in publications like Wired that the Army in particular is looking out for soldiers who they're afraid might become extreme, that there might be kind of a sense of extremism in the military, and they're trying to root it out by, say, finding factors like, are they very engaged in social media? Are they looking away from mainstream opinions? Is this current of extremism something that should be worrying? Well, does it exist, and is it something that should be worrying the military?
I can't give you a factual basis for this information, so I would feel ill-commented to speak on it, but I would say that the nature of our social interactions as humans just in general has changed so dramatically that it would be almost unrecognizable, I guess. No, it's wrong. It's a hard question.
So, can you talk to me a little bit more about what it was like to transition from being abroad to being home, and how the Occupy movement may have played a part in your coming home, sir?
Yeah, almost 1 year ago today, I was standing here in McPherson Square Park with over 2,000 posters, because immediately when I got back from my deployment, I went and signed up for a school so that I could be here, and so that I could try and help the effort any way I could, which was my only skill at that time, making propaganda. After that, I had to return to my duties and give it one more deployment. I had to do it, and you know, I just took my time, put together what I wanted to say in a concise manner, and here I am today, you know, 1 year later, telling you that Occupy had it right when they said all streets lead to Wall Street. All the corruption in this system comes together in our economy. Even our politics are drenched in its blood.
So, when you were deployed, did you get a sense that a lot of the equipment you were using, or the kind of tools of your trade that you had and that your fellow soldiers had, were in any way excessive or not enough? Can you talk a little bit more about that military-industrial complex?
For us, me, I'm an artist, so I only really needed one tool in here. You know, even if I didn't have the tools that they gave me, I could have been using chalk. I could have been using a graphite pencil, you know? I saw units that did that and then scanned it, and it was still better than some of what we're putting out, because it's an unwinnable propaganda war. All right? You can't tell people that the government that you instated is the one to trust when you came in and slaughtered a shitload of their people. That's just not how that works. All right? This war is not only unjustified, it's completely unwinnable. The war's lost. All those lives and all that pain that we caused is for nothing.
And what are your thoughts about the drone war? Did you ever hear or experience any drones?
Drones are a regular part of life over there. You know, it's just something that you would have to accept. I am glad that I was on the American side, because the sound of a jet is truly terrifying. You'll never hear the missile that kills you.
I know for our audience at home and for a lot of people, they hear kind of numbers about the drone strike. They hear that the drone strike is expanding to new countries. Can you kind of even expand a little bit more on what it sounds like, what it feels like?
Right now, a good friend of mine, Medea, is in Pakistan repping with Code Pink about the wrongs in that system, about how the drone system has become such a catalyst for death all over the world without any responsibility on our part, but it is our responsibility. Everyone that we kill is a life lost, and that's a tragic thing no matter where you are.
So how can we as the media, and how can you as a spokesperson speaking out, how can we make those deaths and those lives more visceral to people?
people see other people as numbers or targets or charts or graphs, but those people had lives, and it's not until you connect with their lives that you understand what you're doing is wrong. Until you see that they had children that they cared about, and they had love, and they had loss, and they had shame, and they had pain, just like the rest of us. They're humans, just like your daughters and sisters, brothers and cousins, mothers and fathers. Their pain is real. You can't just ignore it.
And as to the pain a lot of veterans feel upon returning home, can you comment at all on what it's like to be a veteran returning home and the kinds of services available to you?
Right now, I have a lot of my brothers at the VA, Veterans Affairs Association. Veterans Association.
Veterans
Administration, thank you. I apologize for that. Right now, I have a lot of friends at the Veterans Administration that are striking out here in DC. No one has come to talk to them, no one will look at them, but they're not getting the help that they need, just like a lot of troops are. They say that over 17 soldiers kill themselves every 2 weeks. In 2009, twice as many soldiers took their own lives as the enemy did. All right, the suicide rate keeps on raising because they push us to our limits and there's nothing that we can do. All right, I'm 24 years old and I have 4 combat tours, yet I'm the lucky one. A lot of my friends have gone on more tours and seen more death and will never be able to sleep right again because of the nightmares that will never leave them.
And is there more we can be doing? What kinds of services can we offer to veterans?
Really the changes that need to be made come through civil disobedience, because you can't be noticed without it anymore. You go through these red tape organizations that just pass you along and you don't get the help that you need. So I would suggest to anyone that really wants to help the troops or the government as a whole to make their voices be known through civil disobedience. Every civil disobedience that has been successful has been one that became economically inconvenient. Once they saw that they lost more money ignoring you than they did listening to you, they listened to you. So start costing money.
And it's clear now when we look at riot police that they almost resemble soldiers in their uniforms and in the weaponry they have with them. Can you comment at all on the militarization of the police force and how it's really used against protesters like the Occupy movement?
It's let them, all right? If an officer decides to strike you, say, please, strike me again, officer. I'm not resisting arrest, but please, strike me again. Every blow that comes to my body from you is one strike closer to the people's rise.
And Mike, is there anything else that you'd like to say?
Oh, yeah. Tomorrow at 12 at Freedom for Bradley Manning Plaza, I will be giving a speech in the open about my cause and my situation. Tomorrow's a very special day for me because it will be 1 month and 1 day that I deserted the armed forces, making me a fugitive of the United States. I look forward to the next couple of days, and I'll see you soon.
We admire your bravery, Mike. Thank you so much for speaking with us.
Thank you.